the financial.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody to our Go to Meeting July 23rd. And our guest today is Greg Albers with the Life Insurance Buyers, Inc. He spent over 25 years working in the life settlement industry. And this way we have this recorded for anybody that might not be able to make the call tonight. But also Greg will be back with us with our virtual conference coming up August 7th and 8th. We have speakers. The list we just got ready, and I'm going to send this link to everybody so you got it. Can't get to it. But anyway, it's the conference link. And once that way everybody's got it for their file, and they can go look at it. And we've got all the speakers up there now with a little bio. And you can get that going. And as we said, Ron had an open meeting of the open mic for Brother to Brother. Rick was just telling us they had over 5 to 6 guys, and it was very, very successful. So without further ado, we welcome the ones that are on the call now. We welcome Greg Albers, and please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you very, very much. As I had started a minute ago, I am a 45-year veteran of the insurance industry. I started out of college in 1971. Was trained by a terrific gentleman who was an attorney friend of my father's from St. Louis University, who was the head of the New England Mutual Life Insurance Company here in Greater Kansas City. So I started, and I was selling insurance for some 20 plus years. One day, I read an article by a gentleman in Phoenix, Arizona, who said that he was buying policies back from people, and it flipped my world upside down. I made an appointment. I flew to Phoenix, Arizona 2 days later and spent some time with this gentleman. This industry was basically created during the AIDS epidemic. This gentleman was aware of a cluster and some people in the Southern California and the Southwest area who had been diagnosed with HIV/AIDS. He did extensive homework, which he was kind enough to share with me. He gave me everything on all of his research because he had a passion for this. The only passion he didn't have was that he preferred to pay these people very low dollar for their policies. And I told him, I said, I think what you've created is wonderful, but I don't think you're doing the consumer a service. The main thing that I came away from that weekend is that in 1911, there was a United States Supreme Court declaration that life insurance is a piece of property. And because it is a piece of property, if you have the legal right to buy it, you should have the legal right to sell it. I left his offices and I flew to Chicago, Illinois, and met with a very large insurance company. It was called CNA. It still exists. If you ever go to Chicago and see the ugly big red building downtown Chicago. And I said, gentlemen, there's an opportunity here for us to create an entire industry that we could help people, not necessarily those who have HIV. I believe in the late 80s, early 90s, they were now introducing the cocktails that came out of Canada. They had different drug chemicals and things that they were using. And thank God today, an AIDS diagnosis is not a murder sentence, is not a death sentence. These people can live normal, healthy lives. But I also knew the statistics with regards to cancer and heart disease. My best friend and I started Life Insurance Buyers 1994. We incorporated in 1995, and a year later he died of brain cancer. At that point, I committed myself that what I would do is I would do this business, and I would focus as much of my time and energy into the cancer community. So as I'd started earlier, we do most of our advertising through those 2 primary cancer publications, and subsequent to that, I've been introduced to lots of people, lots of clinics. I would get out and go anywhere today. I'm not certain I want to get on an airplane today, but I'm still trying to build awareness of the fact that this beautiful industry exists. What we have now is not only state legislation, but there is federal legislation. I am a licensed broker in my state. Again, I live on the Kansas side of beautiful Kansas City. We have 42 states now that regulate this transaction, and the buyers of these policies must also be licensed in the state. And the state licenses these people for consumer protection. They want to make sure that if I come back and tell somebody I'm going to give them 50% of the face value of their policy, or 60% or 70%, whatever it might be, that the people offering me those dollars are legitimate in the business. This isn't funny money coming out of from the drug lords. This isn't money laundering from Vegas. They've done a great deal of due diligence. They have to put up very expensive bonds to even be in this business. As a broker, as a licensed broker, I have a fiduciary responsibility to my client. I'm supposed to go out there and do the best job I can for the client. There are now in the marketplace, and I hope I don't jump around too much, there are some of the buyers who are now expending a great deal of money trying to get to the consumer to do business directly. My concern is that when you do that, you're only going to get one offer, and you're going to get their offer, and we really don't know whether it's good or not. Now, don't misunderstand me. If you have a policy and you want to sell it, and somebody offers you $5,000 for it, and you want to sell it because you think that that's fair, that's yours to do. We're not holding a gun to anybody here. But I do believe that the best decisions are made when you got all the facts. And so what we do is we gather information from the client, and we gather all of their medical data. We then send all of that medical data, with your permission, on our inquiry. We get a HIP authorization. We send it out to one of 4 different companies now that have been established in the United States that will give us what is called a certified life expectancy. What a certified life expectancy says is that they're going to compare this new client based on age, sex, diagnosis, how long they've had the situation, what they're doing to try to beat the situation, and they compare that in a historical database and of 1,000 people identical to you. And what happens is that the computer spits out what the median life expectancy is. So the life expectancy can come back as short as 6 months, and it could come back as long as 15 years. That currently is the marketplace I have available to me on Wall Street that people wish to buy policies from anybody who wants to sell them. Our focus on cancer, typically we're looking at 50 to 70% range. If you give me an 80-year-old person who's just got, God bless them, just got old, they may qualify for a 20 or 25% buyout, but it's kind of another separate side of this business. We can help seniors as well. But again, my focus has always been the cancer community. In the cancer community, what we call it is a viatical settlement. The term viatical actually comes from the Catholic Church. It's a term that they use for the service that they provide at end of life. And it has been, interpreted to mean funds for the journey or help along the way. So for the past 25 years, all that we have done in this office is to help people by going to every licensed person in his state or her state who is buying life insurance policies, provide them with all of the data that we have gathered, and ask them to make an offer on the policy if they would like. Once I get a half a dozen or so of them to respond, most of them are within a range of each other, but I try to pit them against one another. I kind of call it a virtual auction. I just want to make sure that the guy that's going to buy this is going to pay the highest amount for my client. Once we have a high offer, I then come back to the consumer and say, this is what I can do for you for your $100,000 policy, for your $1 million policy, for your, I've had the good fortune to buy a $22 million policy on a gentleman in San Diego. And when we make the offer, the offer is up to you. If you feel that would be a fair offer, then we can go to closing, and usually within 30 days of you saying yes, money would be wired into your account. Again, I've been doing this for 25 years. We have done over 3,000 transactions here in our office, and we feel pretty special about that. My wife thought that I should maybe share a story or two. We have currently just finished working with a client in Florida. She's in her late 50s, early 60s, late stage 4. She has a $250,000 term insurance policy. We've got her in excess of $150,000 offer on the table. She accepted it on Monday. We're doing closing papers yesterday, and she was kind enough to tell Lisa and I on the phone how much she appreciated the services that we provided, that she did not know how she was going to live in her home from now to the end of life. And she said, this is going to change my life. I now know where I will reside. I know where I'm going to live, and I will have the funds necessary to continue on. When I said term insurance, I will tell you that we buy any type of insurance, term insurance, whole life insurance, universal life insurance. We buy government policies. I have bought, I bought a policy from a beautiful lady in Chicago, Illinois, who worked for the post office. And she said she had $600,000 worth of life insurance. And I think I got her $450, $480. And when she got her check, she called me up and she said, and this is how she said it, I am not racist, please don't, but this is the way I've told her from the podium before. She called up and she said, Mr. Grigg, she said, I just want you to know, she said, I got your check. And she said, I got 3 sisters, one in Mississippi and one in Alabama and one in California. Now my sisters are going to get to see me before they have to view me. So she was going to use the money to go have that last visit with family because she couldn't afford to do that otherwise. And it really, really, really made her day. Those are the types of policies. We also buy for young people. I will tell you, in the last 5 years, I don't think Lisa and I bought many policies on anybody over 60. Most of the people who call here and we're able to help are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, sadly. And from time to time, we'll get a phone call from somebody in their 20s, and it just about breaks Lisa's and my heart that they're going through this struggle. Where would they get their insurance? We buy policies from an employer. If they work for a corporation that offers them group life insurance benefits, those policies are purchasable. We can do that. Most people, within 30 days of leaving your job, it's a federal law. You have the right to take that policy with you. Most people don't. They just let it lapse. They leave it behind. And I can assure you that I will get every one of those people no less than 50 cents on the dollar. A lot of these people have $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 worth of group life insurance. And to think that I could take that policy and put $150,000, $200,000 in their pocket in less than 45 days changes everything. They can't work. They physically aren't able to work. We were able to do this 2 years ago with a young lady who worked for a large bank in Florida. She was late stage, very late stage cancer, sizable policy from her employer. Ironically, gladly, prayerfully, she survived, and a year later went back to work for her competitor bank, and they gave her another $500,000 worth of insurance. And she said, Greg, if I ever need it, I'm going to give you a call back. But she said that check that you sent us really, really made the whole world for my husband and I. He didn't have to worry so much, took the stress off. I didn't have to go to work. I could concentrate and focus on my care. And it's just more important that these people really, really focus on their care and not the financial worries that all of them have. We know for a fact statistically that a terminal diagnosis today is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the United States. That's a fact, and it's an ugly fact. So if we can help those people get through that so that they don't have to go through bankruptcy. I think Lisa and I we're probably thinking the same thing. We just helped a gentleman in South Texas. He lives on the border of Mexico and Texas. He was going through a bankruptcy, and he's also very late stage cancer. We went through hell and high water for him, got the banks to release his discharge papers so the buyer was going to be able to buy the policy free and clear. And he was able to pay off all of his bankruptcy debt and pay his home off and do a few other things. And he's thriving. He's doing much, much better. And I think just removing that pressure, that financial pressure, is really, really important for these people. If anything, Peggy, you and I have talked about in the past.
I was going to say,
Lisa just pointed this out to me. She's over here helping me.
Introduce Lisa real quick so everybody can see your other half.
This is my beautiful wife, Lisa.
Hi, everybody.
They work together in the business, so.
Yeah, well, Lisa and I have the good, I'm 71 years old. And Lisa and I have offices here in our home, and I bravely tell everybody I walk to work. I mean, I got to get my exercise somehow, right? So I tell everybody I walk to work. I'm at my desk very early in the morning, and we can be here late at night. The reason I share that with you, and I will share it again, is that I want people to know that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we're here. We actually quarantine for a living, if that sounds crazy. We're here, and we want to help. And if you just have questions at any time, you have a friend or you want to talk about an idea, please feel free to call us. I don't care if it's Saturday, Sunday, or whatever it is. I guess if you don't mind my humor, Peggy, I started to tell Peggy a story, Peggy and Patricia's story a minute ago. I was out in my backyard in the pool, I don't know, 3 Julys ago, and on a Thursday afternoon, the phone rang, and I recognized it. It was an attorney I work with in St. Louis, and he said, "Greg, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm sitting here in a suit doing my job." And he said, "Oh, okay." And then he asked me to write something down, and I didn't have a pad or a piece of pencil or anything. And I said, "Can you hold on? Let me go get that." Well, I thought I muted the phone, but I didn't. And as I stepped up out of the pool, he heard the water, and he said, "Greg, what kind of suit do you have on?" And I said, "All right, caught me. I have my swimsuit on, but I'm here to answer any of the questions that you have. I'll be happy to help." When we call you, this is probably one of the most important parts. If anybody calls here and wants our help, there is no charge for our services. I do this for a living. We get paid. But since I've been part of this industry since, I don't know if you can see me. I just lost you. There you go.
There you go. Sorry, there you go.
Since I've been in this business for so long, when we got all the buyers to agree that they would pay us a referral fee. So this business really goes along very well if you understand the real estate industry.
Yeah.
You know, it's the buyer's the one who's going to pay me a referral fee. And the beauty of this is
Sherry knows.
we convinced Sherry, we convinced these guys that they all had to pay the same referral fee. And the reason we did that is we didn't want brokers to not be scrupulous, to work with somebody that's going to pay them more commission than the other guy. We said, no, everybody gets the exact same referral fee, and they pay it to us. So if you or any of your clients, friends, anybody that we could possibly be of help to, if you call us, we go out and we do our job, and we come back and tell you, I've got you $150,000 or I've got you $750,000. When the process closes, the wire that will come from a major bank will be that sum. That'll be that money. There'll be nothing else taken out of it. Nothing comes out. That is the number that we promise you, and that would be your number. And 2 weeks later, believe it or not, all the cities, all the states in the country give you guys actually a 2-week period upon receipt of your check, that if you decided you wanted to change the transaction, as much as 2 weeks later you can, and the buyer would go and unwind the whole process if anybody has that. I've only had it happen once in 25 years. Most people, I think the day that it comes into their bank is the day that they sit down and they write a couple of those checks that were really hounding them, or things that they really absolutely needed, and they use the money and they're happy. We get, as Lisa knows, we get the most beautiful cards from people. They're the kindest people. And I think Lisa and I are going to start a Bible collection. Yeah. I mean, people send us books and are thankful for the service that we provided, and not only professionally, but because we both care. I mean, I do this out of a pure passion. And I hope that the good Lord gives me another 10 years to do it, or if he wants me to do it for 15 more, I'll be more than happy and sit here each and every day and answer people's questions and try to help them and get them the financial resources that they need. So that kind of is I don't know, in a nutshell, kind of what we do. I get all kinds of specifics, but I don't think that that's relatively important. The first time I heard about the fact you could sell a life insurance policy was on a Friday, and I didn't sleep all weekend because I thought, what? What is this? And so I had a million questions on Monday. And I want you all to know, if you ever think of something between now or the weekend, if you think of something next week and you want some questions, please dial our 800 number, give me an email, and I'll come spend as much time with you as I can. Normally when somebody calls here, the first phone call lasts me about 45 minutes. We will tell them, we will walk them through the whole story, and I want them to feel completely comfortable that we're going to do a good job. We're going to do a great job. and we're going to focus on them. And each case that comes through here becomes a focus of this business. So I am very, very thankful to Brett and Peggy that they have said yes. They have been kind enough to put our little logo and our information on their website. And I thank her for giving me an opportunity to tell the story tonight. And I will tell the story all over again, hopefully with the same amount of enthusiasm on Saturday, August the 8th.
That's right. And Sherry is also co-founder of the foundation. So you're getting to meet one of the other co-founders. And Pat, like I said, she hasn't, for her loss, she's been able to get out there and advocate for so many just by driving her car everywhere. People stop, they talk to her because of it. This is what it's all about. But any of you all have a question for Greg right now?
If you don't mind me interrupting you one sec, Peggy, we had kind of brushed on this one conversation, and I know I haven't had the conversation with Brett. Now I know how Sherry's connected. Lisa and I are prepared that to anyone that comes obviously through your organization that comes to us, and it's really the first question we always ask: how did you hear about us? You know, I saw you in a magazine, or I saw you at Connor's clinic, or I saw you at so-and-so. We don't do this for everybody, but because of your organization, we would be most happy to make sure that you are on the positive side of a nice referral fee that we will give to the foundation. Or if Peggy needs beer money, I'll give it to Peggy.
Not for me, it always go to the foundation.
Or Brett.
Brett's the beer money, right?
There you go.
He's not supposed to be drinking.
You can direct it any way you want, but Lisa and I
For diaper money.
Yeah.
But that is very sweet because it would help everything continue.
I'm actually thinking, I wish Mark Fetterweight was on this call because he actually has reinvented one of our male breast cancer survivors here in New Jersey, Greg. Recently went through having to sell his home, and it's just a misfortune on his side. And he's also working in the insurance industry. So I actually sent him a Facebook post and I said, I wish you had been on this call, and telling him a little bit about what you're doing too. So hopefully he'll reach out.
Yeah, let's get them talk together, because again, until Greg reached out, I had no clue. None of us had a clue.
Jerry, one of the earliest days of this business, one of my biggest buyers was from New Jersey. He subsequently got out of the business. He sold a gigantic portfolio to the Europeans on the European financial market, and basically retired. I mean, he has a credit card, one of those NetJet credit cards, so he can go get a jet whenever he wants it. So he made a lot of money, but they were wonderful, wonderful people. Most of our buyers are on Wall Street. That was the next thing that we did after we went to Chicago. Was the group of 6 of us said, okay, each week one of us has to be in New York, and we were up and down Wall Street, just getting appointments that we could, telling this beautiful story, and seeing if anybody might be interested in this asset class. Last year, this industry bought $4.4 billion worth of life insurance.
Wow.
Yeah.
And has it grown because of COVID also, with all the stuff?
You know, I think the long term that will be true. That will be true. We also in 1996 convinced the federal government that if you decide, if you are terminally or chronically ill and you choose to sell your life insurance, if you will sell it to a licensed buyer in your state, the proceeds are 100% tax free.
Wow. That's amazing in itself.
That's a win-win. Yeah.
That's cool.
You know, I think, Sherry, that was what I was drawn to in this industry, was that the whole thing's a win-win-win for everybody, or it should be, but everybody can win in this transaction, and especially to get the people as good a deal as I can go out and find them, and being paid the same referral fee. I don't have any favorites. I don't care. I just want somebody to be the high bidder, and I want to pit them. It gets crazy. I get loud sitting right here, and Lisa's in the other room going, my God, you're driving me crazy. Screaming at these investment guys. No, I need another $25,000. Come on. So that's what I do for a living. And it makes me very, very happy.
Yeah.
We have a great business, and we're in love with it. And we just want to help as many people as we possibly can.
And Rick, I want once we get the recording, I want you to look at it, because for the guys with pancreatic cancer, Greg can help any cancer patient
Right.
that's in late stages. So I didn't know how much if you heard much or whatever, but
Unfortunately, I got a telephone call from
that's
one of
what I
our
thought. So
partners.
it's all been recorded, so you can listen, and he's
Yeah.
more than willing to talk to your people too.
I have one question, Greg. So if the agent has to be based in the state, if we come to you, will you then refer us to a state-based agent for whoever the person is?
I have to be, I'm a licensed broker, and I'm licensed in the 42 states that require a license. So I can
Okay.
do business anywhere in the United States.
Oh, okay,
The buyers are also licensed in your state. The law governing this is property law, and each contract is almost identical. It used to be 10 pages long. Now they're 100 pages long because the lawyers got involved. But it just defines the piece of property as an insurance policy from New York Life with this death benefit and this policy number and so forth and so on. And it's all simple language. But when we get a final number, I can make that presentation to your client, your referral. If they accept it, within 4 weeks from that day, they usually have their money having been wired into their account. We will send them a check if they like. It takes a little bit longer for the banks to actually write a check. But the day that the ownership is changed, the day we submit paperwork to change the ownership and the beneficiary to the new buyer, and they pay all the future premiums. The insured doesn't have to pay any more premiums. Those premiums now are the buyers. And so the minute the change is made by the insurance carrier, that triggers the escrow agent at the Bank of New York or the Bank of Utah, whichever one we use.
We don't need to get into the weeds of the mechanics here.
Okay.
What I'm more interested in is whether we can come to you with a person from anywhere in the United States, which the answer is yes, I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
And you can handle that with that person wherever they're based, and
Correct.
they can still get the benefit of having a tax-free transaction.
Yes, sir.
And Rick, before you got on, Greg does the advertising in Cure magazine, and what's the other cancer magazine? He's in all these magazines for 15 years advertising his service.
Right. Yeah. I'm familiar, very familiar with Cure. So, what we should probably do, and I don't know if you sent it to Peggy, you mentioned you'd sent Peggy some information, but if you send me some information, we'll try and get something out. We do deal, so we deal with all cancers, okay? We've got 11 different conditions that we have on our website and growing, but our mother lode is prostate cancer. That's where we have our strongest outreach. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of folks that suddenly find themselves in a difficult situation, especially younger men under 60, because we're seeing a huge prevalence of men being diagnosed de novo metastatic under 60 because of what this country did a few years ago in terms of its testing recommendations. And so the more I see of these men who are, somewhere between the age of 45 and 60 getting diagnosed metastatic, the more I think, well, it may be very helpful to some of them. The services you offer may be very useful to some of them. So I would just ask you, please just send me what you sent.
I will connect you to via email and let you go from there.
Let me just give you my email right now.
Okay, that's good.
The less email I get right now, the better.
Perfect. That works, Rick.
It's rd@ancan.org, and I'll put it in the chat window too.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'll do it. Rick, I don't know if you were on when we started, but Peggy and I live 12 blocks from one another.
Okay.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
We're neighbors.
He met me via Boston. A friend in Boston referred us.
Yeah, an organization in Boston said you should be working with Peggy and Brent, and I said, all right, give me an address and a phone number. And they gave me the phone number, and they gave me the address. And I said, that's 12 blocks down the road. So I picked up the phone, and we had a cup of coffee the next morning.
You know, we're very much grassroots like Peggy is. We don't have anybody that receives a salary at this point in time. So we're really grassroots. But what I'm more interested in, if you're only 12 blocks down the road, have you had one of those mama burgers?
Yeah, he's coming when we can get together from COVID. I promised him a mama burger, and everybody else. We were
I know,
going
that's
to
why
have it at the
I had to
conference.
introduce her to my wife, because all I did was talking about her burgers, and we didn't get a chance to go have one.
I know it. The only time we're finally going to get to pull it off, and of course a pandemic has to shut us down. I cracked me up. I still can't believe it. But they're not going to stop us. We're still going to get together in August and then come April. And,
Fantastic.
you know, I put in the chat the new link, the link for the conference, but now it's all been updated with our speakers. So everybody take a chance and go look. Rick's going to be one of our speakers too. And we've got a huge, good lineup. And I think it's going to turn out all right, even though we can't get together, which we need to be. I think we're going to have a great conference and a lot of knowledge. And Greg will be back to talk about what he's done, but we'll share this recording, Rick, if you'll send it down to me. Share this recording today so everybody knows, and he'll, you know, get into a little bit more detail. But like he says, he's always there for any time to talk with each other and whatever. But I'm glad, Rick, you got on because, yeah, he can help any cancers.
Yeah, right.
It's scary. It's always kind of scary when the phone rings at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, who in the God's name? And so I jump up out of bed, run in the office, and I have to turn it on. You know, I go, hi, how are you? Well, I've been wondering about this, and I've been wondering about that. So we love to help them. We love to get their questions answered, and we have a good medical team behind us. So if anybody has certain questions, we're glad to do a little digging for them to give them first impressions. And nothing makes Lisa and I happier to tell somebody we can't help you, you know, because I want you to grow up to be a grandma or a great grandma. That we're glad that you're beating this. If you're at stage 1, you hang in there and you fight this as hard as you can, because I want you to do it. And I hope I never, ever hear from you again. Now that's got to be the craziest business presentation you've ever heard.
It is true. Absolutely. So does anybody else have a question for Greg or thoughts, whatever? Anybody? Mr. Michael Singer joined us.
Yeah, Michael, you have any questions?
No, I'll have to catch the presentation on the
Because he didn't
recording.
get to see much, but
It's dinner time here in the Northeast, so.
that's right. And thank God Michael's not stage 4. Praise the Lord. So it's just something to know in the back of your mind. God forbid there is something that can help you and your family.
Well, I tell
if you have your
you,
license.
everybody knows somebody. There isn't anybody on the planet that doesn't know somebody who's had cancer, has cancer currently, or is going through this fight. And so ours is simply awareness. We want people to know that we exist. We're here. 85% of the population has no clue that they can sell a life insurance.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. So
And it's the one example, my nephew with MDA, he's got a life insurance policy, but the kid's broke. And it takes everything I have every month just with his disability to keep that kid going. And it just hit me. I said, I don't know on muscular dystrophy if you guys could even cover it. But again, that's a whole nother avenue because I don't know. He's 17 years with it, but he's in such bad shape now. I don't know how he's going to live much longer. But I could use that money to keep that kid going rather than wait until he's dead and it goes to me or somebody else. I don't want it for that. I want it to keep him going.
Peggy,
So.
if you don't mind my sense of humor, I did say that I had the opportunity to buy a policy from a guy in San Diego for $22 million.
Yes.
And I got him almost $18 million for his policy.
Wow.
And the day that he got his check or his wire, we had obviously become pretty good friends. And I said, can you tell me why in God's green earth would you sell a $22 million policy for $18 million? And his answer immediately was, he said, if I had left it to my family, the lawyers would have stolen half of it.
He's totally right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're right.
So he wanted the money
Absolutely.
so that he could spend it, so that he
That's
could
right.
give the gifts that he wanted to give to the
And
people
it
he
came
wanted.
from him.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of what you're doing. I mean, it truly is, because I mean, so many of these guys I talk to too, I say, these are things you don't want to talk about. Pat's been our great advocate, even getting them to help plan a funeral if that's the case, because her, they did it. Marlon and her did that for him. And those are the things you don't want to talk about through this horrible disease. But guess what? It's reality in some cases, and better to be prepared than not prepared. So,
Well, I thank you for the
we thank
opportunity.
you.
And everyone's welcome to call. You're welcome to call at any time, weekends included. Lisa and I are here. Lisa can answer as many questions as I can if I'm out or if I'm on the other line, but feel free to know that hopefully we can grow as family. And that's the way we treat our clients. And that's the way, if any of you need anything at all, we'd be more than happy to respond.
Excellent. Well, Greg, send me a short little paragraph of thank you with your information. I'll put that with the recording Rick's going to send back to me, and it'll go up on the brothers page too. And we'll allow the guys, once they talk, anybody would like to contact you, here's the information.
Perfect.
That'll work. We'll get it done. And that way everybody will feel like they were part of this, and hopefully have questions for you when you're on next Saturday, the 8th.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be fabulous.
yeah, pre-warn them to let them come up with answers or questions, because like you say, it's, a day or two later, you'll come up with more questions that you forgot. And
Right.
That's what it's about. So,
Michael, thank you for taking time to come on in the dinner hour. For us in the Midwest, it's martini hour. So,
yeah, Sherry's with Michael. She's on dinner hour too.
Yeah, I'm calling in right now.
That's right.
And I was cooking, so it just, the time got away.
God bless
What's for
you.
dinner?
What did you make, Michael? That's what I'm interested in. What was for dinner?
I made homemade garlic bread, homemade pizza, and lobster ravioli with a vodka
Oh.
sauce.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I
Salad.
want some. That's my favorite.
You
It's a
didn't
little bit high in carbs, but it was good.
Oh, I
invite
bet.
me, your mumser.
You're not close enough, otherwise I'd tell you to stop in.
That's right.
Wear a mask to the dinner table and then dig in.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazing. Well, again, remember, mark your calendars, August 7th and 8th. We're going to have a hell of a conference. Take a look at the page. And we can't thank you enough, especially Mr. Rick Davis, for making this possible with AMCAN. And his GoToMeeting will be helping us get things done for the 7th and 8th also. So God bless you all. And stay safe. Keep your mask on.
God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.